Ciryl Gane, I'm confused. I watched an interview, and I left confused. A couple of things on Ciryl's interview, by the way. Over there on the MMA Hour, which never goes for an hour. It's kind of a... Anyway, he, and barely covers MMA. Seemed like a really nice guy. I mean, I gotta tell you that, like, Ciryl does have a presence that just seems cool. Like, he's a good-looking guy, but he seems kind of charismatic. He generally has something to say, even if it's not well thought out and interesting. I mean, but he generally has something. He can hold up his end of a conversation. And that's a lot at heavyweight right now. All right? I mean, when somebody says, is this person good at it? And it could be absolutely anything. Hey, were they good at it? You're asking one thing, but you actually want to know something else. So, as the person that's answering that question, the critic of said interview, it's a little bit different. First off, is he good at it? No. But that's not what you're asking. You're asking, how did he do with everybody else? Right? If you ask, is a guy a good singer because he had choir practice today and it was his first one and he went to school and you had to go pick him up an hour later, you're not asking if is he great, can he go to Hollywood? Does he belong on the stage on Broadway? That's not what you're asking. You're asking for that fellow group who also was turning out because they got a letter and went and tried something. How'd it go? So I bring that to you because you can't get an interview with another heavyweight. You didn't see another interview with another heavyweight. I mean, not for nothing, Ciryl Gane has nothing coming up. He just got done. The time to do interviews was 2 weeks ago, in most people's opinion. I don't agree. I think when you're out looking for a job, that's the time that you press the hardest. That's what I think. And Ciryl doesn't have a job, but he has a case that he's attempting to make. And so, did he do well at it? Well, we got two heavyweights that are supposedly going to fight for a title. You can't get an interview with either one of them. We got a blob with a beautiful record that we stick up for, who allegedly is the backup for said title between the two mutes, and we can't hear from him. So it's really not a matter of is he good at it. How's he doing compared to these guys? Well, he's winning. He's winning. That's the answer. And the campaign and the message that Ciryl's on, it's just tough. It's tough because it's confusing. It's not the way that it works. But he believes it. And he's sincere. And he's nice when he presents it. And he doesn't seem to be backing off of it. So Ciryl's entire case is just quite simply, I don't want to go down. I want to go forward. And everybody in life wants that same thing. Like, this isn't unreasonable by Ciryl. The issue you run into is attempting to get a guy that doesn't know the business. You're trying to explain it to him. And it's very hard. And Ariel's not the one to do that. That's not an interest that Ariel has. All right? Ariel's just going to ask questions, and whatever you say, then he's going to ask the next question. Let me give you an example. The fight for Ciryl Gane and the highest promoted heavyweight fight of 2023 is Aspinall versus Ciryl. And I'm not telling you that that's the fight that's going to move the needle. I'm not telling you you're dying to see that fight. I'm not even telling you if they fight on a pay-per-view card that that's going to be a feature match, meaning a main or a co-main event. I'm not telling you any of those things. I'm telling you the best promoted heavyweight fight. All right? You have two different live events. The one where Tom Aspinall was the last one in the cage. You're in an entirely different country in another main event where the last one you see is Ciryl Gane in the cage, and yet all the buildup in between, done organically. Not a single dollar by the promotion spin on it. And it was very meaningful, and Ciryl shut it down. And he shut it down for the basis that Tom is ranked 4 and Ciryl is ranked 1. Now, there's a very big issue with what Ciryl is saying, because what Ciryl is saying is that he should fight Jon Jones, or if Jon is to lose, he should fight that guy. That is what he's saying. Except he refuses to say their names. He would like to go forward. And, all right, would you fight Stipe? Because Stipe is under you in the rankings. Just by example, if that's what we're going off of, Buddy's the #1 contender. So it just starts to get a little bit of, man, I'm confused. You're ranked #1, but Pavlich is one heartbeat away from the octagon, and you're in France talking to Ariel on a poor internet connection. And I'm not being a dick about it. I'm saying this is where it gets confusing. If you want to fight Jon Jones, say his name. But he didn't. He said, I want to go forward. And when you're already #1, it's an issue. Look, guys, Ciryl Gane. Okay, let's do a graphic here, because this makes sense to some of you. Some of you go, well, you know, he is #1, and Tom is #4. That is going back. Okay, great. So, Ciryl was the champion. Okay? He lost. He is no longer the champion. So he was up here, right? Think of a graph chart. He was up here. He's not the champion. So his graph is now going this way. And he could level that out and he could build it again. But where we are right now, he was the champion. He's now come to #1. Great spot. Tom was #11. He is now #4. So you got one guy's graph that is going this way quickly, and you have another guy's graph that is pointing down. Like, I mean, do you see the difference? It's meaningful. #1 and #4, I don't know that there's a difference within matchmakers. I know with sponsors, there's not a difference. They will break it down into the top 10, and the really smart ones understand that there's 2 categories there, that there's a top 5. This top 5 can get a title fight, and the rest of them are unlikely just by example, but they're interchangeable. And I don't know that Ciryl fighting Tom does anything more for Ciryl or Tom than get him a payday and get him some exposure and get him a competition within the sport that they claim to love. I don't. I mean, Ciryl's whole thing is, man, I got to get closer. Even if I can't give you a title fight, I can get you closer, right? Well, if you're ranked #1, I could get you closer. But I just don't think that's the #1 contenders match. I think that was the miss from the beginning. I thought that was the miss from the day that Spivak, Ciryl, and Tom all got into this round robin. So where's Pavlich? Pavlich is your #1 contender. He doesn't have to fight any of you guys, and he's the #1 contender, was my opinion. I came out, I shared that with you guys. Turned out I was right. Turned out they're still over here trying to sort that, and Sergey's been moved into the batter's box. So I'm a little confused on Ciryl's messaging, though I'm not willing to say he's wrong. This is a main eventer. This is a guy that's sold out. This is a guy that's doing what 2 guys coming up at the Mecca aren't out doing. This is a guy willing to do without a bout agreement what Sergey Pavlich isn't willing to do with anything. So I'm not giving Ciryl a hard time. I'm sharing, if you're at #1 and you're only willing to go forward, then say the guy's name. Because there's going to be a massive story to tell. You are going to have to tell and convince everybody that felt shortchanged the night of Ciryl and Jones, where you paid to see a fight and one didn't break out. And a lot of us have been there. Like, you'd be really surprised. There is a story to tell, and it will be accepted. Right? It's a quasi-apology, but it will be accepted. It just needs to be told. I froze. I locked up. I had this. Whatever it is. We need to know why you believe something will be different next time. And if you're willing to go in and fight all of these really tough guys and do it in main event in 5-round spots, we're going to think you're sincere. Like, it does appear to Ciryl to be important to get back into that opportunity. I want to hear why. If there was an embarrassment, I want to hear about that. That would bring me closer to Ciryl. But just hearing that somebody somewhere that doesn't have a name at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning Pacific Standard Time put you at number one and then put a few guys under you, I don't get it. I've never got it. And you're not going to be able to get anybody else to understand it. You were champion, you're headed this way. Tom was not ranked. He's good. I mean, that's just a reality. Tom, with history of the sport, will get to a title shot prior to Ciryl. He's not going to have to fight more times. He's not going to have to fight higher ranked guys. That's just the way that the sport goes. And Ciryl experienced that too. Ciryl was extremely fast-tracked into an interim world title fight. So if anybody understands what it is that I'm saying, it's Ciryl.